Good evening, everyone. How are you? I don't know about everyone else, but the heat wave certainly seems to have ground to a halt here in on the northeast coast of England. It's we've had rain and overcast skies all day, and I got to tell you, if I'm honest, it really does suit me more. I'm not built for the heat. Anyway, it's Friday. And the beer is poured, and the beer is reasonably cold. I forgot to put it in the fridge earlier, so it's not as chilled as I would normally like it, but we'll make do. Cheers, everyone. And welcome to the live stream. As always, I have absolutely no clue what I'm going to talk about for the next hour or thereabouts. It's all just going to be riffing off what's happening in the chat, as is always the case. If I seem a little bit low energy this evening, it's because I'm absolutely hanging out on my backside tired. As many of you know, we lost our beloved border collie a few weeks ago, about 6-8 weeks ago, and the house hasn't been a home without a dog. And on Monday, we got a new arrival. We got a 12-week-old lurcher puppy called Dougal, and he's absolutely running us ragged. I don't think me and the missus haven't had a proper night's sleep since Monday. But you know what? I don't care. It's great to have a dog again. Anyway, let's have a look in the chat and see who was first in and what sort of stuff you've been talking about. I see Dave Lewis. It was first in tonight. And then we have Johnny Random and Grandpa Joe, Robster Boy and Dr. Gomez, Frank Bolam and Michael Palmer. Edwin Toonan's in, as is Steve Muskie and David Evans. Steve Entwistle's there, as is Vincent Brennan. And who else we got? Jeff C. and Johnny Random. Have I said you already? Paul Trainer. And who else we got? Deco Dude. Malcolm Spillett, Chip Young. John Ross is in. So is Lawrence Hastings and Thomas Mulvaney and Ian Clark. Ian very kindly sent me a book on canine behaviour, which is going to come in very, very handy. Yes. Anyway, he'll probably make an appearance at some point in the live stream. Will Dougal. We shall see if he wakes up. Who else we got? Rob Bald and Peter Collins and Andy Nisbet, James Hunt, and who else? Cal B, and scrolling down, we've got the same names cropping up again and again until we get to John Channing, who's also in, and Graham Campbell, and then the page refreshes and I lose my place in the chat. And Pablo Hank, there you are, mate. Colin Falcon's in, Peter S. Geronimo, how are you, mate? And Fender Bender, William Forrest, Martin Scholes. Is it Scholes or Scholes? I do apologise if I've got that wrong. Steve Lamb and Cylon Hybrid, Jim Cotter, and no Time Prophet yet. I haven't seen him. Maybe he's in there somewhere. Maybe I've missed him. Farjon is in, and who else we got? We've got Michael Beliveau. I hope that's the correct pronunciation. And then George Wall and David James and Savvy64 and Maiden Wolves. I do apologise if I missed you there, but it, as I always say, it will be a very tedious live stream just reading out the register. If I've missed you, do accept my apologies, and let's say cheers to everyone in the chat, and let's just thank everybody, or I will thank everybody who watches this on catch up. I get a lot of messages from people telling me that I can't watch it live, but I do watch it, in the next day or whatever. So if you're watching on catch up, I hope you're having a beer along with us all. And talking of beer, I see Sargi's in. How are you, mate? Right, usually round about this part of the proceedings, I fill you in on what's coming up on the channel in the coming days. Now, because I've been reviewing and demonstrating a lot of stuff that's been on loan, where I have to it's time sensitive, and I need to get the video done and out as soon as I can, so that it can go back to its rightful owner. I've been putting a few Saturday videos out, and this week is no exception. There is a video going out tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. I think it is, and it's Rob in the chat there, Rob Bold. He very, very kindly sent me a lovely pedal, which you will kind of hear all about tomorrow. It's a fantastic little piece of kit that was surplus to requirements as far as he was concerned, and he sent it to me on the condition that use it or sell it, and if you sell it, make sure you spend the profits on beer and curry. Well, I think I can just about manage that. Thank you, Rob. You are a gentleman. What else we got? Yes, then that Gibson custom shop from yesterday, the ES339. You may have noticed that there wasn't like a demo piece of music for that guitar. It was just more or less kind of a bit of a look at, neck profile and all that kind of stuff, all the facts and figures and weights and measures. The Sunday video is going to be the demo piece and kind of follow-up thoughts and conclusions on that guitar, basically. Then Monday, of course, it is a solo analysis, and I'll let the cat out the bag about what this one was. I think a couple of weeks ago. It's a certain Canadian blues rock guitarist and his take on I think, who was it? Well, I certainly think of it as an Allman Brothers blues tune, but I think it's a T-Bone Walker tune, and it's Pat Travers, Statesboro Blues. I haven't got I'm not switched on enough to start thinking up cryptic clues. That is Monday's video, the solo analysis. Then Tuesday, a video that I've been asked to do on the top 5 list about chord sequences. I did like a series on chord sequences. Oh gosh, must be over a year ago now. But somebody got in touch with me and said, how about doing a video on the essential chord sequences that you just need to know, that crop up in song after song after song after song. So that is Tuesday's video, talking about the 5 chord sequences that you absolutely need to know. Then you may recall a couple of weeks ago, possibly more on the live stream, I floated the idea of would anybody like to see a video where I tab out a solo in real time? Well, that's Wednesday's video. Okay, it's a Learn My Licks special where I'm showing you completely unedited. It's a long old video, this one. I forget how long, but it's make sure you have time to put your feet up and watch it, and kind of watch along with me. Well, basically, it's an entire solo tabbed out from beginning to end in real time. No kind of speeded up footage or anything like that. What you see is how I tab out a video. And then on Thursday, there's another Les Paul to have a look at, another borrowed guitar. Not my mate David this time. He hasn't loaned me a Les Paul, but another friend of mine, a chap called Tim. He's got a Les Paul Classic, which is, I've got the Les Paul I've got the Les Paul Tribute, and then you go up to the Les Paul Classic, which is the next one up the rung, and then then you're on to the Les Paul Standard after that. So Tim very kindly loaned me his Les Paul Classic to do a video with, and that is the video that will be going out on Thursday, and that's what's happening on the channel this week. Oh, Time Profit's in. I see you made it, mate. Sorry, I called you out earlier. Let's see what's been going on in the chat while I've been blethering away. Geronimo saying, I lost my 4-legged loved one after 12 years together just last week. Still very sad, but I won't be getting a replacement. I don't want to go through it again. Yeah, the thing is, mate, I've had dogs all my life, and it's a miserable, sad, heartbreaking experience when you have to say goodbye. But the way I view it is this, it's heartbreaking and it's sad for a few weeks, and then the pain eases, and and you move on. You have to accept that, it's just part and parcel of being a dog owner. And I look at it as this: well, it's a few weeks of heartache in return for many years of companionship and love. So that, to me, seems like a good trade-off. Anyway, as I say, we have a new incumbent now, a 12-week-old rescue pup called Wheezy. Well, he was called Wheezy at the rescue centre, but we weren't kind of hanging around with that. No, his name is Dougal now, and he's answering to it, and he's just about getting the idea of where he's supposed to do his business. Sometimes there are little accidents, but we're kind of getting there. It's great to have a dog again. Let's see. Dave Lewis is saying, Dunsey did an excellent Pat Travers video on his Dunsey's Guitar World channel a couple of weeks ago. I shall have to check that out. I don't get to see many YouTube videos at the moment. I like to try and put a video on because I'm usually kind of working on that computer there. That's the one that does all the heavy lifting because it's a better computer than this one. So I'll be kind of editing video or running Reaper or something like that. I'll have kind of work going on there, and if it's something that doesn't require me to have quiet in the room, then I'll have a YouTube video on here. But the thing is that I like put a video on and I'll get engrossed in something, then it just follows on to the next one and the next one and the next one. And a lot of the time, I must say, it is just a bit like having background noise on. Where are we? Johnny Love is saying, I quite enjoy tabbing out in Guitar Pro 7. Can take a while, but you've got the transcription forever once done. There is that. It's like the feeling of satisfaction. It's the same as, when you've worked towards anything where you end up with a finished product. Recording a song, writing a song, for example. There is a sense of satisfaction there, and I do get that from tabbing out, a solo. I'm still using Guitar Pro 5. Why? Because I've been using it for years and it does everything I need it to do. And my workflow with it is really, really fast. I just know all the keyboard and all the keyboard shortcuts. I know all of the kind of, the quick shortcuts to doing everything. And, it's my workload, let alone my workflow. My workload is such at the moment that I don't really have time for the learning curve of learning the latest version. At some point, I probably will go up to the latest version of Guitar Pro. I think up to Guitar Pro 8 at the moment, aren't they? But I know that a lot of people who use my tabs are using it on Tux Guitar, which will open GP5 files, Guitar Pro 5 files, but you get these ones that are .gpx. Then it's Tux Guitar, from what I understand, doesn't open those. So I want to try and keep it in a format which is accessible to as many people as possible, because that way, more people are likely to sign up for the Patreon and. Because why would you sign up for $3 a month for tabs that you couldn't open? But basically Guitar Pro 5 is my weapon of choice. Let's see what else we've got going on in the chat. Yeah, Malcolm's saying, we never had dogs as my wife and I both worked, so we had cats. At the moment we have 5, and it's always sad when one goes. Yeah, who is it who said that dogs have owners but cats have staff? That's very much the truth, isn't it? A mate of mine who usually not usually, but he's often in the chat. He used to kind of play host to his neighbour's cat that used to just kind of let himself in through, when he opened the door for the postman or something like that, and just come and kind of, yeah, okay, I'm your cat for the next few hours. Feed me. What else we got going on in the chat? Yeah, Farjon saying, love the name Dougal. Yeah, it's either named after the dog in the Magic Roundabout or the or Father Dougal Maguire in Father Ted, which is one of my favourite TV shows of all times. Oh, yes, John Mack. Now, this is getting really geeky here. Guitar Pro 8 has nested tuplets, which you said you want, and it's on offer now. That might just swing me, actually, there, because basically, for those who, who are interested and aren't aware of that, a tuplet is, when you're in 4/4, when you got 4 beats to the bar and you divide a beat by 3, it's called a triplet. Okay, but when you're in a time signature where you normally kind of divide the beat by 3 anyway, like 6/8 or 12/8, there are rare occasions where what you need to do is, instead of dividing the beat by 3, to divide it by 2. And Guitar Pro 5 can't do that. So if Guitar Pro 8 can, then that just might be something to look at. And if it's only, what I just saw a comment there, it's only £20 upgrade. Johnny Love, yeah, that might just be something worth doing. I think I might just be looking into that over the weekend. Oh, Dunsy's in. How are you, mate? I do apologise. I don't get to watch your videos as often as I should, but when I do, great content, mate. Let's have a look. Nested Tuplets is a great band name. Looks like it's raining dogs and cats in the chat. Yes, it is. It was absolutely, literally raining here about 2 o'clock this afternoon. The heavens opened, and you know what? For about 20 minutes, it was lovely and cool, and we didn't have the humidity, and but it's starting to get really sticky and kind of thundery again now. I shall have to imbibe some coolant. It's a health and safety issue. I shall have to make sure I keep plenty cool. Oh, Flake, everyone. That's the Heineken for you. The Holston, which I'm not on this week, unfortunately, because Asda don't sell Holston, and that's where the shopping came from this week. The Holston is much better at that. But yeah, yes, dear me, that's appalling, isn't it? Where are we? Let's see what else we're going on. Yes, Calby, Flake. What are you saying there, Dave? A lot faster in the Magic Roundabout and Father Ted versions. If you like eating rabbits, they are brilliant. Than the Magic. I'm not sure what you're talking about there, mate, but fair enough. Our cat is always leaving dead rats outside the back door. They're a present in cat terms, apparently. Cheers, cat. Yes, indeed. Where are we? Let's see what else we got going on. I see we've got Pete Long in the chat. Yes, Pete Long was making the Nested Tuplets band name quip earlier. Sorry, mate, I didn't realise it was you. Irish Stew is asking, do you know anything about digital audio converters? I need one for a Boss GT10. One audio output is gone, but I need to run it into 2 live amps. Excuse me, I think there's someone at the door. Yes, this is Dougal, everyone. Come to say hello. He's yawning because he's been working very hard all day, obviously. Yes, running me and the wife ragged. But there he is. He's 12 weeks old. He's a cross between a Labrador and a Lurcher. And, I think it's fair to say that he's kind of figured out that this is his permanent billet. Now, I think he knows that this is... where he's got his feet under the table. And, yes, indeed. Are you going to sleep through the night tonight, son? Are you? If you could. Yes. Anyway, there you've all met Dougal now. Thanks, love.
Okay. Come
on. Where were we? Yes. No, I don't know anything about digital audio converters, I'm afraid. A good place to go, a good resource, is to go to Songcrafters. I mention this anytime you have any kind of issue like this, go on to songcrafters.org. Songcrafting, home recording, kind of guitar player, music sharing, and just general kind of knowledge sharing website. Fantastic place to kind of learn about such stuff. Where are we? Dash Shaft saying, "What a lovely little dog. I wonder how big he's going to get. Lurchers can get pretty big." Yeah, Labradoodle. Where's Zebedee? Triple Distilled saying, "I have no beer, but I do have whiskey." A lot of people kind of saying, "Oh, Lurdor, is that the term for a Labrador lurcher?" I didn't know that. It's he'll get as big as he gets because he's, certainly. We've never owned a dog that has been, short on nutrition. Let's put it that way. He's going to be a spoiled little so and so. Let's have a look. Time Profit is saying that just found out the Podgo lets you record clean and effects in Reaper at the same time. Yeah, I got to tell you, I did consider the Podgo. One of my students had a chap called Gary in the States, and he was absolutely in love with it. But it was around about the time I was starting to get into amp sims and bias amp and guitar rig and stuff. But at the moment, I'm just absolutely loving the tones I'm getting from that little Marshall DSL-1. Back in towards the end of the year, kind of December time, I'll do like a roundup of my favourite gear that I've reviewed this year or kind of owned or whatever or moved on. That DSL-1 will be in that list. Where are we? So yes. Yeah, Peter Collins is saying a chap called 64 Guitars, who's one of the moderators, one of the admin on Songcrafters. If what he doesn't know about, audio equipment and, kind of especially guitar-related audio equipment is basically not worth knowing. So, yeah, get yourself onto songcrafters.org and, start asking around there, because I'll guarantee you'll find the answer. David Evans is saying, does your new Marshall have an effects loop? Indeed, it does. It does have an effects loop, and yeah, I mean, that's the way I run that little Behringer, fairly crappy little digital reverb pedal in the effects loop, but it's fine as long as you have it turned. Well, you saw the video possibly. It does what I want it to do, but I wouldn't, if I was after big cavernous reverbs and stuff like that, I wouldn't kind of recommend it. But it's, for what I want, it works absolutely fine in the effects loop. I might try, I saw Henning Pauly, HPi 42. I saw him doing the Fender Hammertone reverb pedal review, and I was quite liking the sounds he was getting out of that. So, one of the reasons I bought the amp was so I could do pedal reviews a little bit more convincingly. So I might just check out a few of those and see how they work. But yeah, the DSL-1C does have an effects loop, and it's the only thing possibly that it lacks that I used to like on and my old Marshall Valve State, I seem to recall, had this. You know, I think that was possibly my first Marshall amp that I owned. I'd played through Marshall amps before, but the Marshall Valve State 8080, if my memory serves me correctly, and I'm prepared to be argued with on this, but I seem to remember it had a mix control on the front, so you could adjust the level of the of whatever was in the effects loop. It doesn't have that on the DSL one, but yes, it does have an effects loop. Let's have a look. Cylon Hybrid saying about the dog. Hope he likes kebabs. Yeah. He's whenever we get a new dog, we always start off with this dog. He's not getting people food. He's not getting people food. He's going to get dog food and dog food only, and that usually lasts a couple of months. But so far he hasn't. He hasn't experienced kebabs, and Ian's saying, has Dougal had his first Ruby? Ruby, by the way, anybody who doesn't understand rhyming slang, Ruby is slang for Ruby Murray, which rhymes with curry. If you in the UK, if you're going for a Ruby, it means you're having a curry. No, he's not had his first, and nor will he. The consequences could be somewhat messy, I seem to suspect. Let's have a look. Thomas Mulvaney is saying, John, it would be helpful for those of us listening at work if you could mutter yuck after each swallow of beer. Oh, yuck. Oh, that's disgusting. Oh, I can't tell you how bad that is, Thomas. Yeah, you wouldn't want any of that, mate. No, seriously. We're getting some advice here. John, don't use spot on him. No, we don't use spot on for the flea and worm treatment. We use something called... it's the one that the vet recommended because it's the only one that combats lungworm as well, and I can't remember what it's called, but Endectrid. That's what the vet recommends to us because it's more expensive than the regular stuff. But they have this kind of thing at our local vet's surgery where they say you pay, I think, a paltry amount each month, and you get things like free health checks, free flea and worm treatment, and free nail clipping and dental care and all that sort of stuff, just for a small monthly kind of premium on top of the insurance that we pay for anyway. Let's have a look. What's this? This is a fairly longish one. There was a woman who used to live in a block of council flats when I was a kid who was a friend of Ruby Murray's. It was weird when a Rolls Royce pulled up outside. It took me a long time before I realised that Ruby Murray was actually a person. But there you go. Anyway, Michael Beliveau is enjoying Alpine Lager from Moosehead Brewery. Yes, well, I'm married to a Canadian girl, so I get the whole kind of Moosehead Brewery and every sentence ending in A. She's a Toronto girl, so she's a big Maple Leafs fan, and Blue Jays obviously as well. It's all lost on me, I'm afraid. I was born without the sport gene, I'm afraid. If they were playing out there, I'd shut the curtains. Oh, Pete, you off, mate? Birthday shenanigans. Is it your birthday, mate? Happy birthday if it is. Just have a great weekend, mate. Let's see what else we got in the chat. My dog eats carrots. Yeah, our last dog used to love carrots. It was a nightly treat for him, and the only thing was he was a border collie. Now, I love the bones of the old chap, but everyone who tells you that border collies are an intelligent breed Sometimes it skips a generation. Let's leave it at that. And he used to love carrots. He used to love the taste of them. But according to our vet, a raw carrot, a dog's gut doesn't break it down. So basically, it passes through the dog without being digested. So he would, go out in the backyard and, squat down and do what he needed to do. And he'd turn around and he'd go, "Oh, there's carrots in that. I like carrots." And, you can imagine what happened next. So sometimes it does have, consequences. Is your wife a Rush fan too? Yes, she is. She likes a bit of Geddy. And Calby saying, poor dear, a Leaf fan. Yes. We used to get all of the hockey night in Canada on one of the Sky TV channels that's long since gone. But for a couple of years, it was we used to get hockey night in Canada back in the days when Don Cherry was on there, and and I think it was about 20 years ago now. Thinking about it was when Pat Quinn was the coach, so that kind of dates it. And Ty Domi was one of the players. So yeah, I do pay attention sometimes to what she's interested in, and and they had a sort of a decent run at the Stanley Cup that year, and but I don't think it's ever happened since, from what I'm told. What else? Isn't chocolate poisons for dog? It is, yes. Our vet told us that they get a significant number of dogs in every year for chocolate poisoning. It messes with their liver, apparently. So never ever give a dog human chocolate. Doggy chocolate, like the Good Boy chocolate drops, they're fine. But human chocolate, it's a big no-no for dogs. Let's have a look. Big shout out to Canadian Sports, says Paul Trainer. If the first attempt to digest a carrot doesn't work, try it again until it does. Yeah, that was very much his philosophy. Steve Entwistle's saying, does Mrs. Robson play guitar too, John? No, she doesn't. She did have a go long before we ever met. But it became apparent that you could either play guitar or you could have kind of fashionable manicured long fingernails, and the fingernails won that argument, it seems. And she's never made any kind of connotative, well, what we call she's never made any suggestions to me that she would like me to teach her to play, which would probably be, a bad idea anyway. It's like learning husbands and wives teaching each other to drive. It's seldom kind of works out for the best, does it? Let's have a look. Oh, don't you hate it when the page refreshes just as you're reading something? I do apologise. There was something there that was addressed to me. Dave Lewis is asking me. That was the one I was looking at. It's just like when you go to click on something and the website kind of moves, and you click on something you don't intend to, and well, that's the story I'll stick to anyway. What's the one worst and best gig you've ever played? Okay, worst gig was, oh God, there's been a lot of bad ones. This is going to be a top 5 video about kind of gigging disasters. The worst one was where and I did a video about this ages ago, where we played the entire second half of the gig. To the second set, we played it just to a dog. Because what it was, there's this club in Middlesbrough called the Acklam Garden City Club. And when you get booked to play there, you do a Sunday afternoon or Sunday lunchtime and Sunday evening. And it was the lunchtime gig that was the bad one, because when you book to play there, you're in the men-only bar and there's a stripper on. Okay? Anyway, this week, the stripper didn't turn up, and you've got a room full of horny blokes who've come to see naked female flesh, and we get up on stage and there's no stripper. And so we're getting kind of, beer mats and cigarette ends and for strangely Yorkshire puddings thrown at us. And we're kind of up there kind of grinning away playing I Am the One and Only, which kind of gives you an idea of the time frame of this. And anyway, we got through the first set, bruised but intact. We came out of the dressing room to do the second set because we didn't show our face, just hid in the dressing room during the interval. And there was nobody there except for this old bloke, this typical sort of northeast England old fella with his roll-ups, his tobacco tin, his Newcastle Brown, topping up a half-pint glass and supping away, and a greyhound asleep at his feet. And we came back out with, shot through the heart and you're to blame. And he kind of looked up in disgust at us noisy, rowdy, long-haired, because they had long hair in those days, long-haired ruffians, and promptly went off to play on the slot machine in the foyer and left the dog there, who slept through our entire second set. That's probably the worst gig I've ever played. Best gig? It was... I joined a band with minimum rehearsal, no rehearsal, just to do a one-off gig. It was good money, and it was an originals band, and I'd been given a cassette of the lead singer strumming along on an acoustic guitar the songs, and like you'd get like a bit. It says, and now play a solo, and that was all the preparation I had. Turned up, plugged in, and somehow managed to wing it, and the crowd absolutely loved us. We just kind of we were one of the support acts at this kind of big thing. It wasn't like a festival, but there was like kind of half a dozen bands on, and we were about number 2 or 3 on the list. We certainly weren't headlining, but we got the best reaction of all of the bands there, and that's in terms of like expectations. Okay, this is going to be a bit rough, but I'm getting paid good money. So you weren't expecting a good reaction, but the reaction from the crowd was just incredible. So that one sticks in me. Remember, that was about the same time as that disastrous Acklam Garden City gig, with a missing stripper. So let's see what else is going on in the chat. Dolly Parton has long fingernails and plays. It's amazing watching it. Yeah, I am told that she uses a lot of open tunings, and if you're tuned to a major chord, for example, you can bar that major chord up and down the neck, and even if it's a minor chord, we'll just play the relative major, and it will kind of work. So there is that way of doing it. Let's see what else we got. Scrolling down. Here we go. Let's just see. Sorry, I'm just keeping up with the chat. Talk amongst yourselves. Oh, you have been doing. Gear View Mirror's in, and I can hear the dog barking downstairs. He's obviously getting a little bit frisky with wife. Jason Carter's saying, just picked up a lovely Epiphone 339 Pro. Mine is heavily modified, but it's a great alternative to a Casino or a 335. Yeah, one of me, I would say one of my students. He's not one of my students. It's he's the dad of one of my students who is also like the young lad. He's about 14. He's having guitar lessons from me, but his dad is a guitar player as well. And I think he's having lessons off me because the dad doesn't want the lad to pick up all of his bad habits. But anyway, the dad has just got himself a casino, and he's absolutely in love with it. So it's a guitar that I've never played. I've played many semi-hollow guitars, like the Larry Carlton back there, for example, and that 339. And I've played kind of big box jazz hollow guitars, but I've never played a thin line hollow guitar like the Casino. And it might be worth a punt, mightn't it? Just to kind of do. I am a bit of a Beatles fan, and it's a guitar I've never tried. So, yeah. Is there some kind of book going on in the chat about what we will be dining on in the Robson household? I'm just seeing kind of comments here about curry or kebab from Rob Bald. Thank you, Rob. Oh, yes, and Flake. Yes. Yes, indeed. Friday night in the Robson household is very much kebab night. It used to be curry night, but there's a couple of reasons why it's not curry night at the moment. It's because, first of all, with a heavy heart, I have to inform you that my local curry restaurant, Bengal Spice, the last curry we had from there, it just wasn't very good. The chicken was tough and the sauce was watery and the naan bread was stale. It just wasn't a good curry. We will go back there at some point, but you know when you have a bad experience, you think, well, we'll give them a wide berth for a while. So we're not having Bengal Spice curry. I have a good recipe for curry that I do at home, and I batch cook it, and it's in the freezer and everything, and that is, there. But it's like after I've been sat talking to you chaps, do I really want to go down and start getting pots and pans out and start, kind of cooking rice and stuff like that? No, frankly, I don't. So it's got to be a takeaway on a Friday after this. So we go for a curry. We go for a kebab on a Friday, and either Saturday or Sunday is the curry night, but it's my homemade one. I see there's a lot of Dolly Parton related, kind of quips going on in the chat, and it sounds like the dog's in trouble downstairs. Let's see what else we got. Oh, where's it gone? I just saw something there, and it's scrolled up. Let me just have a look. I'm trying to keep half an ear on the dog. Rob Bald is saying, can you get a decent kebab shop in Canada? I don't think the kebab shop, as we understand it in the UK, exists outside maybe the UK and Ireland. I think Ireland have a chain of kebab shops called Abra Kebabra, which I think is a brilliant thing. But yeah, the kebab shops in the UK they're usually owned by often I think they're usually owned by Iraqi or Cypriot or kind of Turkish owners, and they will do pizzas, they'll do burgers, and they'll do, in this part of the world, they do the parmo, a teesside delicacy that I've spoken of many times, and donut and chicken kebabs. And it's not a kind of takeaway shop I think that you get anywhere else in the world, and it's, the thing is, they always seem to do really well. We have a Domino's pizza in town as well. So Domino's pizza, it's expensive, but I think it's worth it. and there's always a discount code, isn't there? You search online for a Domino's discount code, you can always get a little bit knocked off and make it sort of less expensive. But yeah, it's like, you know, if you own a fried chicken shop, then as soon as KFC moves into town, well, that's you finished, isn't it? But these kebab shops, that, you know, there's a street about 2 blocks down the road where pretty much every other shop is a kebab shop, and they all do really well. So there you go. Let's have a look, see what else is going on in the chat. This is kind of falling firmly under the, you know, when I say in all the videos, and don't forget the live stream every Friday where we have a beer and talk about music and guitars and whatever else crops up. This is very much in the whatever else crops up category, isn't it? Here we go. Let's have a look. Our 4-in-1 takeaways do several cuisines, but with melted cheese on top. Oh well, yes, that's to appeal for the after the pub crowd, because there's nothing quite like. I mean, this is again another northeastern delicacy: cheese, chips, and gravy. Oh yes, big fat steak cut chips with gravy and melted cheese on top. Dear me, that is that's a proper feed after a night on the beer, isn't it? This has to be the most random part of the live stream ever, says Anton. Yes. Shall we get it back to music and guitars? This is, after all, a music and guitar related channel. I did get a telling off once in the chat. Somebody says, "I'm off. This isn't anything to do with music or guitars." And you know, somebody had the you know, kind of probably, you know, flounced out, flicking his hair, probably slammed his bedroom door when he got home. It was one of those, you know. Chip Young is saying, okay, back on topic. What guitar shape do you dislike most? Me, it's the Explorer. Yeah, my dislike of the Fender Jazzmaster and Jaguar is well documented. So I would, up until recently, well, fairly recently, I'm just going to go and grab a guitar off the wall. I would have said Fender offset guitars, but a chap called, I haven't used this guitar in a video for ages. A chap called Pete, fairly local to me, built me this offset guitar. I don't know if he was trying to sort of make a convert of me or anything, but you know what? Without all of that kind of Jazzmaster kind of switchy shenanigans and that kind of ugly looking metal control plate attached to a plastic scratch plate, I always think that's a little bit kind of mismatched. Without all of that, I do kind of quite like this shape. You know, it's this somehow seems to look very sleek and futuristic, a bit like a George Jetson guitar. I should play that guitar more often. It is a nice guitar to play. It sounds really good as well. But if it wasn't the, it's when I was a young wee lad, I say a teenager, I always had this kind of thing for a Gibson Firebird, you know, the Firebird 7 with the 3 pickups and the that kind of awful tremolo that they've got on them. I just think it looked such a cool guitar. And then about 5 years ago, I played a Firebird, not a Firebird 7, but it was a Firebird, and oh dear me, what an unergonomic, ugly kind of, in the flesh, it just didn't look as nice as it did in the pictures. So yeah, possibly a Firebird, or maybe the pointy Firebird or the Explorer. Possibly the only thing uglier than a Firebird is the one where they kind of had to kind of reverse the body style. I always get it mixed up, which is the reverse Firebird and the non-reverse, but you know, the one where they kind of change the body shape to avoid a lawsuit with Fender or something. So that's not a favourite guitar shape of mine. Yeah, John Max saying I don't like all the switches on the Jazzmaster either. Yeah, I had a Jazzmaster on loan one of my students loaned me it, and I did a video about it, and you might have seen it. It was a few months ago, and I actually got kind of to the bottom of what all the switches do and everything, and I can kind of see why they're there, you know. Why, but generally speaking, for me, I don't like guitars which have lots of different options where you pull this and it does that, and you push that and it does this, and oh, and there's a mini switch over here, and then the pickups do this, and you know, I mean, we haven't had the gratuitous Blondie shot yet, have we? Here we go, Blondie. This is about as complex as I get. First of all, why don't all guitar manufacturers use push-push switches? They're just so much more ergonomic than the push-pull switches, especially those push-pull switches that you get on the some of the Player Series Strats and the Player Plus Strats, where, you know, those Fender knobs that you got to pull up, and you can't. They're impossible unless you've got Dolly Parton fingernails. But push-push switches, you know, just very, very easy and intuitive to use. This turns the humbuckers into single coils, and this basically gives me the out of phase Peter Green sound. And it's a control layout that's simple. You're never going to get lost. You're never going to kind of forget where you are, and it just works. And for me, that's, you know, that's about as complex as it gets. But where you got like two different circuits that you can switch between, and you know, and when the switch is in that position, that control doesn't work. I once had a go on the Music Man Steve Morse guitar, the first generation, you know, the blue ones, at a guitar show, and what a beautiful guitar! But dear me, the switching options on it absolutely baffled me. You know, I would still like one of those guitars. I would still love to have one because beautiful guitar, but I suspect I would, you know, kind of use about 1% of what it was capable of. Oh, Malcolm's saying, I love push-push switches. Martin Booth guitars use them. Oh, Sean House, how are you, mate? Yeah, I've done that. Where are we? Time Prophet trying to use the push-pull on his Ibanez, and it's the wrong model. It doesn't have it. Yeah, I did that on I think it was on the Gordon Smith that I had. Unusually, the push-pull on that was on the volume control to kind of split the humbucker. And just habitually, you go for the tone control for a push-pull. It's always on the tone control, but on the Gordon Smith, it was on the volume control. And it took me ages to get used to the fact that, you know, it's this one that you use, not that one. Let's have a look, see what else is going on. Das Schaff is saying, I've built a load of guitars with loads of electronic options, but I always end up using only one or two setups on each guitar. Indeed. I mean, that was ages ago. I did a video about like why I went from kind of being a Strataholic to a Telecaster guy. And it was on a Telecaster, just a bog standard Telecaster, you know, not a humbucker Telecaster. You've got three sounds, and they're all eminently usable. On a Strat, you've got a bridge pickup, which I've never ever used. I don't like a single coil Strat bridge pickup. Then you've got the two kind of in between positions, which are kind of, you know, Knopfler, Robert Cray, that sort of thing. That's fine. The middle position, which I don't use, and the neck position. So I kind of essentially one position I would use on a Strat, which was the neck pickup, unless you put a humbucker in the back end, and I'd use that. So I just wasn't using the majority of the sounds on a Strat, but I'll use all of the sounds on a Telecaster, which is, you know, one of the things that I like about a Telecaster, really. Oh, there's some fun and games and some shenanigans going on downstairs. all I can hear, I don't know if you chaps can hear it, but all I can hear through the through the floor from downstairs is the wife going, "No, don't do that, Dougal. Leave it alone. Get off it. Get out, Dougal. No biting." You know, and he's woofing away at her. Yes, he alternates between being a little angel that you saw and an absolute rampant hooligan. Anton is saying the neck on my telly needs adjusting after 2 years. DIY truss rod adjustment or take it to the shop. It depends on your level of confidence, mate. But, you know, what I would say is, yes, you can damage a guitar if you adjust the truss rod badly, but you have to be absolutely determined to damage the guitar. You have to be on a mission to make to make a bad job of it, because if you're tightening the truss rod and it just doesn't want to tighten, if you're really cranking it and it's kind of, it feels like you're kind of fighting against it, then you know that's when you're going to damage your guitar. But other than that, you know, a little bit of truss rod adjustment is absolutely the easiest thing in the world to do. Just find the right sized Allen key and make the adjustment. The kind of, you can get the feeler gauges out and everything, but to be honest with you, the way I always do it, fret at the first fret, fret at the last fret, like that. So, and then reach over to the 12th, and what you want is about a thin business card, a thin piece of card, or a piece of cartridge paper. Let's put it that way. Kind of clearance at the 12th fret. That is, you know, how I adjust a truss rod, and that's how the way I've always done it. Really, I used to do it by sighting down the neck like this and kind of judging the curvature of the neck against the straight plumb line of the string. But now that kind of first and last fret and reach over to the 12th, for me, is the way that I tend to do it, and it's it works. What else we got in the chat in the last couple of minutes? Your dinner's in the dog. Where are we? Oh, dear me, you have been talkative. Where are we? What's your favourite valve amp? I like Marshall. I like Marshall amplifiers, and that's why I'm absolutely loving this DSL-1 at the moment. At the moment, that's my favourite valve amp. The proudest moment was when I got the Marshall 30th anniversary combo back in about 1993 when they first came out. It was one of the first year that they made that 6101 combo in the blue livery. Beautiful amp, but it was just the most unreliable thing in creation, which is why I ended up getting rid of it. But you know, it's I like that Marshall tone. I like the sound other people get out of Fender Tweed amps. Okay, I'm not saying I don't like Fender Tweed amps. I like the sound that other people get out of them. I've just never been able to get a sound that I like out of one when I'm playing. So I've never really been a Tweed amp kind of guy. But you know, Marshall. Same with Vox actually. You know, Vox amps again sound incredible when other people play them. I've never been able to plug into one and kind of get a sound that makes me smile in the way that a Marshall makes me smile. So I would guess, you know, anything with Marshall written on the front is my favourite valve amp. Vincent Brennan is saying no more Faisley reviews. I never said no more Faisley reviews, mate. I'm hoping to get my hands on one of their 12 strings at some point. We shall see. Colin Falcon's saying, did you finally get the guitar that Parcel Force didn't deliver? I did. And, well, yes, let's say that, yeah. sometimes some companies have better customer service than others, and Parcel Force are, well, they're somewhat lacking. And that, chaps, brings us to the end of the live stream. It's 59 minutes and 50 seconds in. So let's see if I can time this exactly to the hour. It's been a blast, as always, chaps, and I'll keep on doing it until you're sick of me. But I'm going to go and order a kebab now. Thanks once again, everyone, for turning up. It's been fantastic. I'll keep on doing it till you're sick of me. But for now, time, gentlemen, please.